There seems to be a question that everyone wants the answer for. I've had YC founders reach out to me for this. I've had business leaders from FANG and other Fortune 100 companies asking me for private coaching just to know, am I using frameworks correctly? How do I know if I'm doing it right? And, there's actually a framework for this, not just to know whether you're using frameworks correctly, but just in general. How do you master a new skill from a beginner to get to an expert? And that framework is called the 4 stages of competency. Stage number 1, the lowest, is the unconscious incompetence, which means you don't know what you don't know. You could be hearing business leaders, deep thinkers talk about frameworks.
So that's the basic dynamic, and that's the framework within which people come in.
Realize that strategy is not industry specific, it's frameworks and how you think about a business.
I came up with this framework when I was really young.
And yet, you don't even recognize that that's a mode of thinking that you can also use. You just think, oh yeah, they're naturals. They're good at organizing their thoughts, articulating them. Just got nothing to do with me. I'm not born that way. So the key here to move on to the next stage is 1, to recognize there is a skill, 2, know that there is a skill gap, and 3, you can be humble enough to say, okay, I don't know much about this, but I'm willing to find out, which will lead us to stage number 2, conscious incompetence. Once we're aware of the skill gap, we can start to fill it in. If you thought it was painful to accept your own incompetence in stage 1, well, it gets worse. Because I've reviewed hundreds of survey responses, I've talked to dozens of people, and most people, 90% of people, get stuck in stage 2 because it's so hard. Most of us try to do the easy thing of, let me just consume a lot of information, hoard everything, and maybe by osmosis, that'll get me to become an expert. Progress will be infuriatingly slow if you rely on theory alone. And actually, it can bring you backwards because information overload, right? It actually incapacitates us from doing anything because we are overwhelmed. Yes, you have to learn some theory, but you got to put it into practice. And God forbid, you got to make some mistakes. This is especially hard for adults. As kids, at least we had teachers, parents dragging us through the learning process. So when it's hard, we still move forward. But as adults, busy, delicate, we don't want to make mistakes. We want to protect ourselves. So sometimes we don't even practice. And when things get hard, no one's there to keep us accountable. When we make mistakes, no one's there to point it out and guide us towards the right path. And that's why only 10% of people make it to stage 3, conscious competence. And specifically focusing on frameworks, if you've been on this channel for a while, then hey, at least you're starting on stage 2, if not stage 3. You know what frameworks are, you know how they're being used by the top 10% in communications, in business, in life. You now have the basics down. Say if it's frameworks, it's, okay, now I get 80-20 my to-do list, but it doesn't come easy, right? You still have to sit down there, you have to remember, I'm gonna use 80-20, and then you look at it, you're like, oh, but which one's 80, which one's 20? So it still requires a lot of effort. And you'll find that, wait a second, it's still really difficult to apply 80-20 outside of this use case that I'm used to. What if I want to apply it to my thinking? What if I want to apply it to a book? I don't yet know how to do it. So here, practice is essential, and we have to level up the type of practice we do. Again, 90% of people will fall off here because, wait a second, I thought I already have conscious competence. Shouldn't I be just doing all of this naturally? What's happened? Instead, in stage 3, we're more like an athlete. On the one side, we have to train ourselves. We have to put in the reps, put in the practice that is varied, that is guided, that's very deliberate, and we have to do it all the time. And on the other hand, there is a mental component to this. We have to master our mind. Right? Every time we feel like, oh, wait, why do I feel so stupid? I'm not doing this quickly. Frameworks are supposed to be easy. But if you can master that and realize this is all a part of the learning process, then you'll be able to get to stage 4. And this is unconscious competence. By this stage, everything comes second nature, right? Example, if you're learning frameworks, it's while you're at a Q&A or while your boss just randomly pulls you aside and asks you, can you give me an update? You can listen to what they're saying and at the same time organize your thoughts with frameworks without even having to think about it and say, wait, can you give me some time to write this out? Looking at your emails, your DMs, can I point out the obvious? Some of you feel so frustrated, so infuriated, so not confident because you assumed, with frameworks or with any skill, it's going to go from stage 1 directly to stage 4. And if you feel like you have to even put in some effort, you feel like you're doing it wrong. That is not at all the case. And as new consultants, we had to go through this very deliberate action-based plan. Number 1, you can't have too much information. You just get the things that you need and you move on to number 2, which is practice. Get non-theoretical understanding. Practice on the job. Use the frameworks that you know. And number 3 is get feedback. The incessant feedback, have other people who have more experience to point out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how you can get back on track. This learning loop was so essential to consulting that you're even formally graded on this. If you can do all 3, it means you're action biased, you're really efficient and quick learner, and to be honest, you get promoted because you can quickly iterate. And if you want a done-for-you plan, I am running my cohort again. We're going to go through the essential frameworks that you need to know. And then we'll go through exercises, games, case studies where you can practice. Turn that theory into practice with other people so you can see how others are doing it. I'll be there to guide you. And of course, there will be feedback, right? What you're doing well, what you can start to try at work, what you want to improve on, and how to actually improve on those. And of course, if you want more details, link is in the description below. You can check out this video here for more details on the core of framework thinking, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.